Everybody, yes, sir. Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith. He's up there in the Bay Area. I'm Molly Karam. You guys fired up? Yeah, I'm Molly. Hi, Molly.
Hi,
nice to
how are
meet
you?
Nice to see you. Yeah, good. This guy, he's unbelievable. Stephen A. When are you coming back?
I'll be back when the finals are over.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Let's roll.
You know what? I got to say this. It just occurred to me. It's days like today and nights like tonight that I feel very blessed. This is from my heart. I feel very blessed to work with you and to get to talk about matchups as great as this one.
I appreciate you, my man.
got
Thank
it.
you so much. Appreciate the love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You feel blessed I'm here too?
I feel blessed that Molly is here sitting next to me in this studio.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Look at Molly
it's
needing the
epic.
love. Look
I
at Molly
do.
needing
No
the
love.
love.
No love.
We
Just
have to
leave
talk
me
about
hanging
that.
out to dry.
We have to talk about that. You need love. All right, I got it.
All right, no time for small talk. Obviously, we're all excited for this game. Stephen A., let's get right to it. Who wins the series? Give me your prediction. Yes, you have to. It's Thursday.
This is the moment.
Let's go. America's listening.
Heart or
Skip
head?
Bayless.
Heart or head? Heart
Skip
or head?
Bayless.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless. If I go with my head, it's the Golden State Warriors because obviously the Golden State Warriors, to me, with the year that they've had, the two superstars that they have, as far as I'm concerned, and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, the reigning two-time league MVP, their marksmanship, the snipers that they are, free throws, three-point shooting, the explosive tendencies that they put forth. There is no question in my mind that you consider all of those things combined with their depth, that the Golden State Warriors should beat this Cleveland Cavaliers team. But if I go with my heart, I look at LeBron James. I do not, more than anything in this finals, I do not want LeBron James to lose 3 consecutive NBA finals. I don't want that on his resume. I think he's too great. I think he means too much to the game to have something like that on his resume because people won't let it go. They won't think about him taking a team to 6 straight NBA finals. It absolutely drives me crazy, the thought of him losing another NBA finals. I think about Kyrie Irving. I have no doubt, Skip, that Kyrie Irving's going to show up and handle his business in terms of his role. I do have questions about what Kevin Love and J.R. Smith will give me. If they give me what they're capable of giving me, I have no doubt that they'll be able to pull it off, to handle their business. I just don't have that doubt. So when I look at it from that perspective, Cleveland can beat this team. They are built to beat this team. The style of play that they execute is built to beat this team. So it's just a matter of going heart over head. My heart is with Cleveland, but I'm going with my head.
Yep.
I'm picking the Golden State Warriors to win these finals. I think it will be pushed to an epic Game 7 back at the Oracle. And I think that it will be too much for Cleveland to overcome. I have no doubt what LeBron James could do. I believe Kyrie Irving will help him. But in order to pick Cleveland, you're asking me to trust. I know what they can do. I know what they're capable of doing. I'm not questioning their skill set at all. But you're asking me to trust Kevin Love and to a larger degree, as you pointed out, J.R. Smith,
Yep.
because if Love doesn't give you something, Channing Frye could give it to you. There's no doubt about that. So you have somebody to play the role of Kevin Love if Kevin Love is not effective. But you're asking me to trust Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, and I have to see them do that against this Golden State team in order to believe it. And it's just hard for me to, I'm usually going heart over head, which is why I'm wrong half the time. But I will tell you that in this particular instance, I'm definitely going head over heart because I want LeBron. I don't have anything against Golden State. Got mad respect and love for them brothers. But I want LeBron to win so badly. I just can't. If I have to make my pick based on where I would put my money this time around. And I wouldn't put my money on Cleveland. They could do it, but I can't. I just can't. I can't get there where I'm willing to say Cleveland is going to beat Golden State unless I strictly go with my heart instead of my head. And for once, I'm going to go with my head when it comes to the NBA Finals instead of my heart. And I'm going to pick the Golden State Warriors to win this series in 7 games.
I am proud of you. Too often in the past, when picking the finals, you have fallen prey to or been victim of your own emotions. You get carried away more with rooting interest than what is staring you right in the face.
Only in the finals, though.
I know.
Only in the finals.
I said only
Right.
in the finals. I agree. Not that you miss every finals, but sometimes you just get swept up in the pre-finals
You're right.
emotion. And this is, I got to tell you, this is a close call. I am with you. I am also going Golden State in 7 for a slightly different reason. But I want to say up front, this is how much respect I have for LeBron James and in turn for the team that has come together around him, that is now clicking at the highest level around him. This is how much respect I have for the job that Ty Lue has done with that team, that I'm going to give it 7 games at Oracle. But in the end, I got to boil it down to this. Forgive me if it comes off as cold-blooded, but I just think when the stakes are at their highest, Steph Curry has proven to me to be a little mentally tougher than LeBron James. And I'm going to boil it all the way down to what's going to happen in crunch time or clutch time, however you want to look at it. With games on the line, I would bet my money on Steph before I would bet my 7-game money on LeBron James. That's just it. I can't say it any better than that. And here's my favorite stat from what Golden State just did in 2 straight playoff series against Portland and against Oklahoma City. Stephen A. Smith, do you realize that Golden State trailed more than it led against Portland and against Oklahoma City? It trailed more than it led. Wow, wait a second. The 73-win team was behind more than it was ahead against Portland and against Oklahoma City. So what happened? Well, obviously, Klay Thompson had a whole lot of impact on both series because when they needed to barely stay afloat, he made 3-point shots that kept them barely afloat. But what happened in what they call clutch time, which is the last 5 minutes of a game when the game is still a 2-possession game within 6 points? With games on the line for Golden State, Steph Curry scored in the playoffs so far 46 points. And second on the list is Draymond with 11, Iguodala with 10. Klay only scored 7 points in clutch time. In clutch time, Klay has been 1 for 10 in the playoffs. Steph Curry has been 14 for 23 and 9 out of 13 from 3. These are insanely great numbers. So how can I not go with Golden State? Go with your head. Go with what your eyes have been showing you. Because when it's time, Steph will impose his will on the game. Enough times that he can win 4 of them to LeBron's 3. And I know it doesn't boil down to just Steph and just LeBron, but in the end, they're clearly the 2 best players on the floor. You can do 1 or 1A, whichever way you want to go. In the end, intangibly, I'm going to go with Steph making the plays more than LeBron makes the plays to win the games. And it's going to go 7. I think it has epic potential. I can't wait for tonight. We'll talk about who wins tonight, but I'll just give you a little tease here. I give LeBron and company a real good shot to win tonight's game. And if they do, we're off to the races again with another great series a la the Oklahoma City series.
We're off to the races because I would tell you that I think Cleveland needs to win one of these 2 games not to get taken out in 5.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, you don't want a situation. I think that Golden State is fully capable of stealing one in Cleveland. If Cleveland wins one of the games, 1 or 2, I think this series definitely goes 7, which is why I'm picking it to go 7, because I do think Cleveland could win tonight. I definitely think Cleveland's going to win one of these 2 games. Okay. And then Golden State will go back and steal one in Cleveland. But I would also tell you that when you talk about Steph Curry, listen, it's not just the marksmanship. It's the free throw shooting.
Yep.
And when crunch time arrives, you know, look, LeBron is not awful, but he's in the 70 percentile.
Yep.
Steph is in the 90 percentile. The dude just doesn't miss, really, from the free throw line. You know, and so when you look at it from that perspective and you've got a sidekick, and I'll be the first to admit again, as much as I want LeBron and Cleveland to win this particular series, you know, and as much as I've got some trepidation about the health of Steph Curry, I think the NBA did us justice in this regard. You got to remember, you've got game 1 tonight. Then you got 3 days before game 2. Then you got 3 days before game 3. Now, the 3-4 game in Cleveland is a Wednesday and Friday. But then after that, you don't play until Monday. And so as a result, rest is not going to be an excuse. Exhaustion and fatigue, rather, is not going to be an excuse for this series, okay? So that's going to help both teams because little injuries, little things, nicks and knacks here and there, things get tweaked. You find yourself in a position where you're going to buy yourself some time in order to get healthy again before you're able, you know, to do whatever it is that you need to do. So when looking at it from that perspective, I think that serves both teams positively in their own way, but ultimately that lends itself towards Steph Curry getting healthier and healthier, you know, for this series. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I just say to myself again, their depth, the fact that Cleveland's best chance is to force Golden State to play small, but that's when Golden State is at their best. I'm thinking about the depth of Iguodala and Harrison Barnes and Sean Livingston, who I think is going to be a key in this series. I don't think we're going to see much of Bogut at all. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it just ultimately comes down to, I think LeBron's going to do his thing. I think Kyrie's going to do his thing. I think Klay and Steph are going to do their thing as well. But then you're asking me to rely on Kevin Love. I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I like Kevin Love, and Kevin Love can play, and I know it's been an adjustment for him to be the third option. He is no scrub, but you're asking me to rely on him and J.R. Smith to come through. I have no doubt that they can. I'm just questioning, will they, as consistently as they will need to in order to win this series against those role player defenders that will be out on the court. You, Kevin Love, you got Draymond Green in your face. Okay, you J.R. Smith, whether it's Klay, Iguodala, or Harrison Barnes. You, LeBron, you got Iguodala and Harrison Barnes up in there, even though you abuse Harrison Barnes. But Harrison Barnes is playing for a new contract, Skip. He wants his money. And so I'm just looking at it, and, you know, these are reasons like Cleveland could win, but they're also reasons Cleveland could lose. And I'm just sitting back here and saying, do I trust Love to come through? I've never seen him do it in this situation because he's never been in this situation. And last time I saw JR, he was shooting 31% from the field and 29% from three-point range in the NBA Finals last year when LeBron desperately needed him. He gets to sit back and spot up now and just launch shots, and they're going to be open shots if Kyrie and LeBron are feeding him, which I have no doubt that they will. But again, what proof do I have that they can do it? I have all the proof in the world that Golden State can do it because they sit here today as the reigning, defending NBA champions. I have no choice, and I want to pick LeBron so badly. You know that.
I know.
But
I hear you.
I can't do it.
Okay. Back to Kevin Love. I've said it from the start. I don't love Kevin Love. I ask you, are you sure he's going to play high minutes in this series? I'm not sure about it.
Well,
I'm not sure Ty Lue really loves him some love, even though he raves about him.
That's all contingent on whether or not he makes shots. The acquisition of Channing Frye was key because Channing Frye makes three-point shots. Plus, if you remember, everybody talks about him as just a three-point shooter, but, you know, he doesn't have any post game whatsoever. Well, against smaller players, Channing Frye is capable of posting. You remember, when Isaiah Thomas drafted him for the New York Knicks, that was one of the biggest reasons he drafted him, because of a post game he showed against smaller players coming out of college. So he does have that capability. And the fact that he plays the way that he plays from the perimeter is what enables you to not worry about Love. I just think in this series, because of who Golden State is and how they play at their best when they're small, you need the combination of Love with Channing Frye on the floor to be at peak performance. If you have to pick between one or the other, you're at a disadvantage for Cleveland. Their most potent lineup is going to be LeBron with Kyrie and JR, with Channing Frye and Kevin Love.
Okay.
And the only hiccup to all of that is when you bring in Dellavedova or Iman Shumpert for defensive purposes.
Yep.
That's about it.
Okay, so when we boil this down from the Cleveland perspective, what are the biggest differences in this Cleveland team today as opposed to game one, or let's do game two, a year ago? Obviously, chemistry number one, but here was the key change. What happened on January 18th? You were there in Cleveland. Golden State went in there and obliterated LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love. Remember that? They won by, 34 points.
But they were up by 43.
43 points. And it was LeBron's worst plus-minus. He was a minus 34 for the game, worst in his overall career. Never has he been worse than minus 34. 4 days later, David Blatt fired, Ty Lue elevated. It was a huge change. And so now, obviously, Kevin Love is healthy. Channing Frye is added. So you have added two very tall spot-up three-point shooters. Kevin Love 6'10", Channing Frye 6'11". So to your point, if they're making their shots, they're hard to stop because they're so tall, they just shoot over any defender. So it's a make or miss possibility with them every time, or that's what it boils down to. So can they make their shots?
Well,
and remember this also. Remember, LeBron is taking 10 fewer shots a game in these playoffs than last year's playoffs. LeBron has played the fewest minutes by far he's ever played in a playoff run. So he's rested, he's healthy, he's not taking shots because mostly, as you know, they have become a draw. LeBron drives it and kicks it to three-point snipers kind of a team. So it's different now. Everything's upside down from what it was a year ago.
But there's a reason that the finals are so pivotal. It's for all the marbles. You're breaking down, and I just finished breaking down the nuances of the game schematically. But let's not diminish the impact of the quote-unquote moment. This is the time when palms get sweaty and backsides get tight.
Yep.
It's just what I talked about, whether it's Game 6 with OKC or Game 7. When you have all the marbles on the line, the men get separated from the boys. And what I'm saying to you is I'm not denigrating or disrespecting anybody. Both teams are fully capable of winning this series. This could be an epic finals. But we have to understand that we can pretty much predict what we're going to get from LeBron. I believe Kyrie Irving is that kind of dog. As long as he is healthy, Kyrie Irving gonna make some noise. He ain't gonna just sit idly by and let Steph Curry get his. Kyrie Irving with a jacked up knee before he went down for good in last year's Game 1 of the NBA Finals had 23 and 7. 23.7 assists. He was flat out balling while defending Steph Curry, who did not have the greatest first couple of games, first 2 or 3 games actually, okay? Kyrie Irving was guarding him Game 1. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I just believe in Kyrie Irving. I believe in LeBron. I know that Kevin Love has the talent. I know that J.R. Smith, when he gets hot, is as lethal as anybody. But they're question marks at this moment, more so Kevin Love than JR. JR's a question mark because making or missing has nothing to do with the moment with him. He's either on or he's off. He's completely unfazed. He ain't fazed by the moment. He's just either making them or missing them. I don't know if Kevin Love is going to be fazed by this moment. I haven't seen him. And he's got Draymond that's going to be trying to get in his head. And I'm thinking about all of that. And that's where I'm at right now. Golden State's deep, man. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes. You got the Bogut. You got the Draymond Green. Then you got Speights, who can take you away from the basket, hit perimeter shots. You've got Livingston, who could be a matchup nightmare. You got Barbosa, who could be an energizer bunny off the bench. It's either Barnes or Iguodala that's coming off the bench. That's 9 deep right there. And so I just look at it and I'm like, wow, I can't underestimate these dudes. I just can't.
I hear you.
All right, so a different reasoning, but expecting the same result, both of you with dubs in 7. So one day before a high-stakes